everybody. Welcome back to the MPF Podcast. My name is Brad Nordstrom, owner and operator of Maximum Performance and Fitness here in West Fargo, North Dakota.
And I am Levi Nordstrom, just your average college student, majoring in communications at North Dakota State University.
Average college student? I thought we talked about this. You're like excelling in everything.
Yeah, I am actually in a above average college student.
There we go. It sounds better.
So today is Black Friday, but yesterday was Thanksgiving, had some good food, and I wanted to start off the podcast in a light way and talk about Thanksgiving food. What is your go-to meal? Like, what is on your plate, at least your first round of food?
All right, so I got my first plate. I'm a big stuffing fan. The turkey was right in front of me, and we had a smoked turkey this year, and it was great. So I put some turkey, stuffings, mashed taters, and then gravy all over everything. Then, I never used to do it, but my aunt makes a sweet potato dish with marshmallows. I gotta have a little bit of that. Not much, just a little bit. It kind of gives you a little bit of sweet treat. What else did I have on there?
Well, I wasn't looking at your plate. I was looking at mine.
I had some cranberries. I like some cranberry sauce. Not a ton, just a little bit. It's just a little tradition. I did a little cauliflower salad. Wasn't bad. Didn't get too gassy out of it, so that was good. And then, I like my olives and pickles and stuff. But that's pretty much all that was on my plate until I got to dessert time. How about you?
So I had turkey, ham.
Oh, I did have a little ham, yeah.
The smoked turkey was miles better, in my opinion. That's like one of the only ways you can do it and have it taste good and not be too dry. I also had some stuffing. Wait, no, I didn't. I hate stuffing. I also had some cookie salad.
Oh, yes.
What is it? Orange?
The orange salad.
The orange salad. That was good. Starting to really come around to that. And then I had those carrots.
I forgot about the carrots. The carrots were phenomenal.
That was a new addition to Thanksgiving this year. And mashed potatoes and gravy, of course. And that was my first plate. Second plate was kind of just the same thing.
Hodgepodge.
Yeah, same thing. Some ham, some turkey, and some more mashed potatoes, of course.
Did you have pumpkin pie?
I did.
I did not. And it wasn't on purpose because I got so dang full with the other crap.
It's tradition, I have to have pumpkin pie. Had a slice.
Cool Whip or no Cool Whip?
Cool Whip.
Oh.
To me, I was thinking about this just randomly. I think pumpkin pie is overrated itself, but with the Cool Whip or Ready Whip, whatever you use, then it's properly rated. I think that's when it's good.
I totally agree. Because you look at how many, you let us know out there, but how many people actually have a piece of pumpkin pie without Cool Whip?
Not many.
I don't think I've seen very many.
I've seen one of the most relatable TikToks before Thanksgiving, and it was just somebody had a slice of pumpkin pie, and then the Cool Whip was just covering the pumpkin pie. Everybody does it. You just douse it in Cool Whip. And, of course, had a piece of lefse as tradition.
Okay, lefse. Butter or no butter?
Butter. It's basically
sugar
the
or no
glue.
Sugar?
It's the glue for the sugar. That's what I think of it as. So, yeah, I put butter and sugar.
I've literally just started eating it where I just take it and roll it up and eat it. No butter, no sugar.
It's not bad.
I've always done it with sugar, but I feel like if lefse's done right, you don't need to add that. And my sister is the queen of lefse, and that's good.
I made about half the lefse this year. I was a contributor.
Well done.
I've heard of some other ways to make lefse, and I wanted to talk about this because I want to hear what everybody has to say in the comments, of course. What do you guys even put on your lefse? Because I've heard of Nutella. That's a new one.
I have not thought of that.
That's a little bit wild to me. Mashed potatoes.
It's already a potato.
Yeah, I know. It's like
you're going to put potatoes on a potato.
Potatoes squared right there. And then cinnamon sugar.
I could see the cinnamon sugar.
That's pretty...
I've done that before.
Pretty normal. I'm not sure what else. I've heard of some creative ideas or just plain.
It is so weird because you think about it. It is potato. What if you put jelly on it?
I've heard of that, actually. I think jam or
apple butter.
Yeah,
I think would be good on it. I'm going to try that. I got some apple butter.
That would be pretty realistic, but just wanted to bring that up because
But would you put that on your mashed potato?
No. I think it's one of those things where the potatoes taste different because they're cooked differently. Like, you have mashed potatoes, you have baked potatoes, you have
Good
like
point.
the
They all
diced
taste
or
different.
whatever.
French fries.
French fries. I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can make potatoes. So I feel like it's just like tastes different.
Yeah.
And it goes with different things, of course. But yeah, I just wanted to hear you guys' thoughts in the comments below.
And if you do not know what lefse is, let us know that too, because we've known about it for years, but you might not have a clue what we're talking about.
Yeah, with our little beginning conversation over, let's dive into things you should not say in the gym.
This is going to be interesting.
You know, I wanted to have something a little bit more comedic in a way, because last week was more of a serious podcast. I kind of like to rotate a little bit. So I thought of this. And there's some good ones in here that I wrote down, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts because I feel like some of these you've probably heard of before, or maybe you've heard of a couple other ones.
You know, there's a few things that definitely kind of pop out, but for the most part, just because of how we operate here at MPF, there's not a lot of the sayings that you would hear at a big box gym where people are doing their own thing. So. Yeah, we'll get into this. This will be interesting.
The first one, are you almost done?
We got a nice flow, so it usually isn't utilized or heard here a whole lot. Are you almost done is probably more like, hey, or are you using that when it's pretty obvious that I'm in the middle of a set or I might finish a set. So we don't typically hear that one too often. It's probably more of like, hey, how many sets do you have left or whatever. But yeah, are you almost done? And just sit there and tap your toe and be annoyed. Yeah, that's a good one.
Kind of in the same vein, when I was working out at NDSU, I think I was doing lat rows, and the guy after my set was asking if I was done yet, basically. And I was like, no, but I'm doing a superset, so you can just, work in with me or whatever. Obviously I didn't have an issue with that, but there's ways to be nice about it. There's ways to work around it. And especially doing like a superset, it's like, it's not really that big of a deal. I'll be away from it for a few minutes anyways. So.
Well, that's the thing. And then people need to realize that, by pairing exercises, you can get so much more done and more efficiently. Just work in with each other. It's not real hard. And especially with cable machines, it's easy to adjust weight. And then you don't have to think about, I got to try to do that same amount. No, you just move your pin, move it to the next weight that you need to do. I mean, I don't know if we're going to get into any pet peeves, but one of my pet peeves is people sitting. They do their set on a bench or whatever it happens to be, and they just sit there.
Yeah.
And that is so annoying. Get off the dang machine.
We should work in some pet peeves here.
Oh, we could do that.
'Cause
I've got a couple.
It's kind of fun, and it's related to it in a way. I think of people hogging weights a lot, or they have their weights all around them. They're surrounded by dumbbells, kettlebells, whatever they're using.
Yeah, they're called landmines.
Yep.
Somebody's going to step on one and it's going to explode and roll an ankle.
Yep. So that would be a major pet peeve of mine. Luckily, you don't really see that too much. So I feel like a lot of people are trying to get in and get out, with their lift. They're not trying to hog the weights and, stick around too long. Let's go into the next one. You're on your last set of your squat, under the bar, mid set. You're at rep 5 out of 10. Veins are popping, headphones are on, hard rock playing, and the guy is staring at you right in front of you. Is that all you're lifting?
Oh boy, I tell you, I can't even imagine if somebody did that. That's one thing that I have tendencies where I can talk some smack or give somebody some grief about something, but when you're in the middle of a set, and especially if I can tell that you're struggling, I'm probably not going to say anything about it. Is that all you're lifting? And I can't even imagine. Yeah, you probably shouldn't say that. So that one you might want to keep in your back pocket if you could think it. Maybe wait till they're all done. It's like, is that all you're going to lift today?
Now let's talk about the workaround. How can you say it in a way that is not coming off as rude or, say it in a joking way. I feel like it's better when you got your gym bros.
Yeah.
Then you know it's
Well, if you know it's your
messing
gym bro,
around.
he can give each other some grief, but he's your gym bro, so it's all good.
Does this almost become a pet peeve when you might be training somebody and you know they can lift more than they actually are? You know it doesn't look like it's too much for them. Can you get annoyed? It's like, okay, you can lift more than that. Is that all you're going to do today?
Well, yeah, that's I would agree. That is a kind of a pet peeve-ish where I've also seen people where I've over-calculated how much they can do.
Mm-hmm.
And you deep down, and I'm like, I know this person could do it. And then you have them do it. They get to their rep 2, rep 3, and all of a sudden they just die.
Yeah.
I'm like,
10 reps in.
What the heck?
10 reps set, and
like,
they
you should be able to do
quit
this.
out at 4.
And I think most of it is like the nervous system, especially if somebody is just starting out training, their body doesn't know what's going on yet. So it's kind of interesting, but yeah, that's a challenge at times. Not very often, but once in a while, yeah. It's like taking too much Thanksgiving meal and not eating your whole plate. Your eyes are a little bigger than your stomach.
The one thing I like about fitness is that everything is almost like interconnected.
Yeah.
So you might think you can lift more, but maybe it's because you didn't take enough rest, talking about
true.
last week's podcast, or it's been their first lift in a long time and they might be hurling.
Yeah.
They might be a parking lot puker afterwards. So I like how everything's kind of interconnected in a way.
Had a little parking lot puker again here last week.
Surprised we didn't have any after the Thanksgiving
We had a
morning
lift. Great turnout at the our annual Melt for a Cause Thanksgiving morning workouts. We raised $1,400 for the Matthews Voice Project, and we had a full house. It was a lot of fun, and I did not see any parking lot pukers. It's possible that they just didn't show it, but it worked out really well. It was awesome.
Now on to the next one. You don't look like you lift.
Oofta. It's probably more like haven't lifted in a while, huh?
Yep.
But yeah, that you probably shouldn't say that one. That wouldn't go over very well. That might get you into some trouble.
I don't think many people would have the confidence to say that one. I just thought it was hilarious. You don't look like you lift.
That's a good one.
Have you ever had anybody walk into the gym that is not looking to lift? So it's like, you don't look like you lift, and they actually aren't trying to lift. They're walking in. They might think it's not like a lifting place, or they might have like questions or asking for direction. I think that's happened before.
That has happened. We've definitely had people come in. I've had people coming in asking for money. I have had some interesting characters come in. I do recall a couple because, like I said, MPF is a training facility, so we guide everything. And it's like, yeah, I just want to do some cardio. I'm like, yeah, this isn't going to be the place for you.
Yeah.
Because we were the whole package here. You're just not going to get half the package. So yeah, that's interesting.
I mean, you can do the cardio. You
Yeah.
just got to follow what it says.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a come do your own thing, Jim.
Is there any pet peeves involved with people coming in and trying to do their own thing? Anything like that?
Yeah, that is a pet peeve. For the most part, we do not have that problem. We do have some clients that need to do some modifications, and I'm totally fine with that. Could be injury reasons, could be other training reasons. So we'll do some modifications. Some of them are actually really good about making proper modifications on their own. Some pet peeves are, I can't bench press because of whatever. I got a bad shoulder, or I can't squat because my knees hurt. I can't do any legs. I'm like, well, no, let's talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can make modifications. All right, we're going to do dumbbells presses and slowly work into it. Or, you know what, maybe we won't squat right away, but maybe we'll do a step-up variation on a small step, or do some VMO work or extra hamstring. Might be just simple imbalances. So I think there is a pet peeve of, I don't know if a shortcut's really the right word, but basically saying you can't do something.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, then let's talk through this. Probably, do you want to know my biggest pet peeve?
Sure.
Do you know it? It has to
You
do
got
with,
a lot.
well,
kidding.
probably, yeah, but the biggest one has to do with dumbbells.
Oh, not racking it. Not
Well,
putting it back?
no, it's freaking throwing the dang things.
Oh, okay.
You'll have somebody, or dropping them. You'll finish your
Mhm.
bench press, and you'll just drop them right off of their shoulders or their arms. Or they'll be doing a shoulder exercise, and then they'll bring the dumbbells down to their thighs and just let them fly.
Mhm.
And that drives me insane.
Like, it's funny, to this day, I still don't drop it because of that. Like, when I think of the barbell,
Yeah.
cleans and stuff. When I
Cleans
was
is a different
lifting,
story. I get that. I understand that.
it's harder.
That's what those bumpers are for.
But I think it's funny how I always set the bar down, or I
Yeah.
always re-rack the dumbbells right away, even if I'm just going to go pick them back up the next set.
Well, you're right there, too. That is another one. It's like, you're right. You finish your set of dumbbell bench, whatever you're using, 40s, and you just set them there and you walk away. It's like, dude, put your weights away.
Yeah.
That's landmines. People are going to step on that stuff. And then they get hurt.
Let's talk about back in my day.
Oh, yeah. End the day.
Things you should not say in the gym is talk about what you used to be able to do back in the day, saying, I swear I used to bench 405 in high school, which would be unbelievable. But
I'd like to see that.
do you
first
get
of
a
all.
lot of back in my day
Oh, yeah.
comments?
Oh, yeah. We got a lot of clients that are my age and that, 30s to 40s to 50-year-olds. And, man, I remember when I used to do X. I used to be able to squat 500 pounds or deadlift 500 pounds or whatnot. And, well, guess what? It isn't what you can do anymore. And I probably, for the most of the population, wouldn't say let's try to get back there.
Yeah.
'Cause you're probably not going to.
Mhm.
And that's not a diss. It's just I think some people, that's when we talked about goals and realistic goals. That's more than likely an unrealistic goal.
Mhm.
And then when that person actually did that 405 bench press, my guess is their butt was so far off the bench that it was a
Yeah.
decline bench press, and they probably had 3 spotters, one on each side,
Yeah.
lifting that bar off of their chest to say they got 405.
Random question related to bench. Does mass move mass when it comes to bench press?
Does mass move mass, meaning a bigger person typically will bench more than a smaller person?
Yes. Like, because I just think of like these big offensive linemen. They're probably 350 pounds or whatever, close to that, maybe a little less. But when it comes to that, how can that relate to like your bench press max?
I would say with the bench press mass, like me personally, and I've seen it with other clients as well. Let's say they've dropped a little bit of weight. So if let's say you're starting out at 210 pounds and your bench press was 340, like, wow, that was pretty good. And then you maybe go through a little phase where you dieted down a little bit. You maybe didn't get enough protein in. You maybe slowly lost a little bit of muscle. You had started doing too much cardio. Now that 340 all of a sudden is down to 320.
Mm-hmm.
Well, is that bad? Depends, not necessarily. But for the most part, a lot of it, I do agree, it is mass, does move mass in that aspect on a bench press. But the other thing I've also noticed that the bench press does correlate well with protein consumption too. So let's say you go through a little phase where, like I say, you're trying to drop a few pounds because you're heading to the beach or something in 3 months and you're not quite keeping up and your calorie count's a little bit too low. You typically will drop a little bit in the bench press. But there's so much technique in bench press that people don't realize.
Mm-hmm.
That makes a huge difference. If you're like a technically sound bench presser, you can press a lot of weight.
Yeah. Especially you have that band assist
Well,
launch
exactly.
pad or whatever
Have
it is.
the slingshot on, then you can really shoot some weight.
Do you have any that you can think of off the top of your head that's you hear all the time, might not be necessary to talk about, or some pet peeves of yours?
I guess I really don't have any other ones from, things you shouldn't say at the gym. I think like dudes don't typically like to hear, looks like you lost weight.
Yeah.
When maybe they weren't trying to lose weight and maybe all of a sudden their bench press isn't as good anymore and now they kind of messed up.
Or you put on a few pounds.
Yeah, it must have been pretty good holiday season
Yeah.
for you. Yeah, that might not be willing to be something that's said in the gym. But yeah, for the most part, that nails it all pretty good. And if you guys have heard some in the gym, throw them in the comment box. So I'm sure there's lots out there that I don't hear. You guys kind of mumble back and forth to each other. And yeah, the pet peeves are definitely dropping the weights, leaving weights lay around, and especially like if you do your dumbbell press and somebody went before and they're laying down on the ground, you do your press and you go set yours down. Next thing you know, I call those finger pinchers, and yeah, that's definitely the biggest ones I have.
Going back to before the podcast, talking about how you ordered more towels, taking towels home, not putting it back in the bin.
Oh, yeah, I got another one. I've got a couple bins in the locker rooms for towels only. It has only said towels only for the last 8 years, ever since I've been in here. And there'll be Kleenexes in the towel bin. That drives me insane. Like, do you just want me to take that towel bin out of there? I can.
I mean,
it's like how many times I've washed towels, and next thing you know, I'm like, what's all that white crap in there? Oh, yeah, it's a Kleenex.
Yeah, I would understand, because it does look like a garbage bin, but it does have a big white sign on it that says towels only.
So I have to put another one on? It's like too many signs. People don't read anything then.
Yeah. All right. We have reached the halfway point of the podcast. Now we have to get the wrenches back out.
Oh, I like working with wrenches.
Muscle Mechanics has returned. Basically, the bicep of the lower body, in my opinion, the quad.
Yeah. Quadzilla.
Let's talk about the quads. Once again, similar to last time, talk about how to work the quads, maybe some best workouts, and just general maybe mistakes and other stuff related to the quads. First of all, what are the best workouts to target the quads?
Oh, I mean, there's so many. I mean, I'm a multi-joint type trainer. I like your squats and your lunges and whatnot. I'm typically not one that's going to set you on a leg extension machine. Well, first of all, I do not have a leg extension machine, but we can definitely do leg extensions, and we will do them with, I've got some clients that are, post ACL. They might be a ways down, and we need to develop quad strength a little more. We'll use our cable machine and our high-low cable pulley machine and hook up a ankle strap and sit on a box and do a leg extension that way. But to be honest, some of the best quad exercises are going to be lunge variations. A barbell lunge is a great one, and you can do them walking, but I kind of like the stationary lunge because you're going to step into it and you have to stop that movement and then push back against it. That's a great quad exercise. A front leg elevated split squat. Split squats are great, but like if you elevate that front leg up 4 to 6 inches off the ground and then put a little pad on the ground and the back leg, take your knee down so you actually go through more of a fuller range of motion than a regular split squat, that's a great quad exercise. Obviously you're getting them in squats too, but like your lunge variations typically, or your Bulgarian split squats are they're great for overall leg development.
One of my least favorites, the reverse lunge.
The reverse lunge.
Ooh, that's
a great one.
That one's a tough one. I do like the Bulgarian. It's kind of unique, different, than your barbell back squat, there's stuff like that. Kind of, speaking of the bigger lifts, you talked about how the barbell squats obviously target the quads. How about
and you can change that. You could elevate your heel.
Yeah.
We've got some heel blocks. You elevate your heel and squat with those. That'll target your quads even more. So, there's so many variations of things you can do.
How about when you're using the barbell back squat and you touch like a box or whatever? What does that do? Does it force you to stop and then reactivate, or how does that work?
Well, I guess there's a couple of rationales behind it. I like to use it for range of motion as a reference point for the client to understand where to be at, and you try to work them down a little bit lower with the box. If you look at your powerlifting movers, your West Side barbell, those guys are all about their box squats. And it's, that range of motion. I typically, for the most part, you got that dead stop and have to restart. It makes a big difference as far as it's not really training your muscles any differently per se. It's more technique and nervous system wise, so that it allows you to hopefully, you obviously, if you're doing a powerlifting move, you're not stopping on a box. The box is gone, but you're developing that strength from that bottom position to drive through. But I've seen box squats grossly used and people bouncing off boxes, and I mean that's going to put a lot of pressure on your low back. So I don't really use a lot of box squats with the barbell unless we're teaching more range of motion.
Yeah, I like the range of motion point because it's pretty difficult to tell how low you're getting.
Yep, for sure.
Unless you have somebody obviously watching you or you have, reference point. Because all the time I see people not squat deep enough, and you try to tell them and it's like, no, it felt like I squatted deep enough. It's just hard to tell.
I think now that you say that, if you were to take one lift in a gym that's probably the most, I don't know if you call it improperly, or the range of motion is the least of any gym, it's probably the back squat.
I mean, there's also like foot placement that you have to
Absolutely
worry about, your hips, of course.
It all starts at the beginning of the exercise. You got to get the beginning right, and then everything else will fall into place.
Kind of touch this smaller lifts that you can work in, those supersets. How about when you're doing a lunge with your back foot on like a bench? How does that kind of help work the quads a little bit? So I feel like that kind of burns the quads.
So sometimes. You're talking about like a Bulgarian, like a back leg elevated lunge?
Yeah, because you got your back foot on the bench or box potentially. That kind of works your lunges or your quads a little bit.
Right, and even like your body positioning does make a difference too. So, for example, let's say you're doing a Bulgarian split squat where your back leg is elevated on a bench, so you're going to be up like 18 inches with that back leg. If you're leaning forward with your upper body, you're going to get more posterior, more glutes and hamstrings, and not as much quad. If you're more upright and more vertical, you're going to get more quad movement. So even like in a lunge, if you're going to do a lunge, like a walking lunge or just stationary lunge step, if you're leaning more forward, you're going to get more glute and hamstring. If you're more upright, you're going to get more quad. So even body positioning makes a difference too.
Does leaning forward put less pressure on your knee? I can't remember if that was the case. It puts like
it can, but it also can put a little bit more of a shearing force on it too. I do think it's kind of like everything else. You've got to work into it. I mean, we're doing everyday activities where our knees are over our toes all the time. Yeah. So, but I think the problem is some people just go way too heavy right off the bat, and they're not used to it, and that's when their knees start to hurt.
Speaking of knees starting to hurt, let's talk about some common mistakes when training the quads. What do you notice potentially? Maybe the leaning forward part where it doesn't target the quads as much, or certain things that you notice when you're training that it's like, okay, well, that doesn't really work the quads, or you're not really getting what you can get out of this lift.
I think that probably the biggest problem that I see with your training of quads or whatnot is there's probably two things. Let's say we're doing a split squat, watching that front leg, and your knee starts to fall in when you're going down, or your foot placement, your toes are turned in and then your knee falls in. That's when you're going to put too much pressure on the knee. Watching the foot placement, making sure it's straight, and that when you go straight down, that knee is straight. That's a huge one that you have to pay attention to that can be easily mistaken. You see that a lot with kids, athletes, and a lot of it could be weaknesses in your glutes or whatnot that's not allowing you that position, or it's just that you don't know it and you're just trying to bang through the exercise. So that's where that coach comes into play and like, hey, okay, let's take a look at that front leg. Let's make sure it doesn't fall in. If you need to use a band or some kind of feedback type exercise, you can do that. That's one big issue. Another one is, let's say you're lunging, ramming the back knee into the ground. You'll see that a lot where, we might have turf out here, but that's a hard floor. So if you ram that back knee down when you're thinking, I'm going through the full range of motion, well, that's putting unnecessary pressure on that back leg. So those are the biggest mistakes or issues that I would see, is leg positioning, knee positioning, going too dang fast and just trying to bang through the exercise and not focusing on your techniques.
Speaking of ramming the back knee into the ground, yeah, that's painful. That's where I go to you do your 3-second count, down.
Yep, tempo, yeah, for sure.
Definitely helps you feel the burn.
You add your tempo training into your split squats and your squats, and boy, you'll get those quads firing.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I even like doing it for just a dumbbell bench press.
Yep, absolutely.
Because then
time under tension.
Yeah, and then you're at the bottom. I feel like when you're going slow, you're kind of thinking about what you're doing more so. You're more controlled, and you can explode through a lot easier when you're at the bottom of your rep.
Yeah, then you're not bouncing it. You're actually training the movement.
Speaking of upper body a little bit there, everybody loves training the upper body, but why is it important to train your quads and, of course, your hamstrings, your glutes, your calves, and your lower body in general? Why is it important?
I look at it as this is what propels you around. Your lower body is what propels you walking forward up the stairs, when you're carrying your groceries in, when you're at the lake, you got to take and carry your gas down. Yeah, you're using your arms with your gas cans, but your legs are propelling you down those steps that you got 400 steps you got to go down to get to the boat. As we get older, we're going to lose muscle mass. So I always look at it, and when you start to lose muscle mass, you start to lose functionality. The older you get, you want to be as functional as possible, so you need to hold on to that muscle mass. And the legs are so important compared to, it's upper body strength too, obviously. But once again, these are propelling us. For the knees, for the knee health, strength training is going to be huge. Honestly, I feel like my knees feel the best when I am consistently doing my leg workouts twice a week. I feel the best. I have zero knee pain. I feel like I did in my 20s. And there was a time frame where I didn't have that, and that was because I was inconsistent doing leg days. And once I started to consistently do melt 5 days a week, my knees felt better, shoulders felt better, and so forth. Everything feels better. So joint issues is another reason to continue to do strength training, working on the knees and the hips and stuff. So leg training's hard. Okay, let's be honest.
Yeah,
training the legs is hard. You're using a lot of muscles, so it makes it hard. So most people do not like to do legs,
especially at your age. Pulling hamstrings is a real possibility. Or cramping, very common, of course.
But I think that's, if you really stop and think about why don't people like to do leg days, because it's hard.
Yeah, I think back to getting a would you rather question.
Would you rather?
Would you rather injure your arm or leg, or lose your arm or leg? I feel like most people, at least 75-80% of the time, they always say their arm, because they want to be able to walk around and do things still.
Yes.
And it's a lot easier to, have your legs and maybe lose an arm, or, you maybe tear something in your elbow, your shoulder, because at least you can still walk around, grab food, do whatever you need to do. But if you lose a leg, you might be crutches, wheelchair. That's so much more of a hassle.
The prosthetics are great now. It's pretty amazing what people can do with it. But yeah, you're right. I think I'd rather have an arm injury over a leg injury for sure.
Mm-hmm. Any other notes when we are talking about the quadriceps?
I think we really hit a lot of things. I think the biggest thing that I would like the listeners to understand is just focus on your techniques. Obviously, make sure you do it, number one, but focus on your techniques when you're doing it. It's not a race to get through the darn exercise. Make sure you stay under control, whether you're doing a lunge or a squat or whatnot. Go through a full range of motion. That's the other huge one. And then watch your knee placement. That comes to technique as well, but on a lunge or a split squat, if you're just take a look. You can look at your knee. You can tell if it's turned in when you're going down, or typically not going to be pushed out. It's usually going to be in or straight on. So that's probably the biggest thing is the techniques. Make sure you're doing everything properly and you're going through a full range of motion.
We have reached the ending of MPF Podcast, episode 9. Make sure you guys subscribe to the MPF Podcast. here to give you guys good fitness advice every Sunday. Make sure you like this video if you enjoyed and put a comment below if any questions you have, some left of comments, of course.
Yeah,
anything,
get some comments on there.
Any questions you guys have, and we will be sure to answer the questions or even shout you out potentially in the next episode. And we will see you guys next week.